There's a hidden truth no one tells you about studying. Most students think success is about studying longer, grinding harder, memorizing more. But deep down, you know that's not working. You study for hours, yet your mind feels foggy. You push yourself, yet you forget everything the next day. And the worst part, you start believing maybe you're just not smart enough. But that's the biggest lie you've ever been told. You were never the problem. The method was. Because here's the brutal truth. The education system never taught you how to learn. It only taught you how to obey. It made you believe success comes from sleepless nights and endless textbooks. But the world's top students, especially those trained at places like Harvard, know a secret. They don't just study harder, they study smarter. And when I say smarter, I don't mean quick tips or pretty notes. I mean a way of thinking that completely rewires how your brain absorbs information, so you never have to struggle again. Imagine walking into your exam room and feeling calm. Imagine opening your books and understanding everything 10 times faster. Imagine remembering things so easily it feels almost unfair. That's not magic, that's mastery. And I'm telling you, if I had to start from zero, if I had to relearn everything about studying, I wouldn't waste a single second on traditional advice. I'd use the same psychological and cognitive frameworks Harvard students use to dominate every subject. Frameworks backed by neuroscience, not motivation. Because champions, real studying isn't about discipline, it's about design. Once you understand how your brain truly learns, how it stores, retrieves, and connects ideas, studying becomes effortless. You'll start to see patterns where others see chaos. You'll start finishing tasks in hours that take others days. You'll stop feeling like a victim of the system and start feeling like the system itself. So before we dive in, I want you to promise me one thing, that from this moment forward, you'll stop seeing yourself as a student. You are not just preparing for exams. You are training your mind, like a warrior sharpens his blade, for the life that's waiting for you beyond grades, beyond classrooms, beyond approval. Because when you master the art of learning, there's nothing in this world you cannot master after that. So, my champions, sit up straight, take a deep breath, and get ready. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the 4 Harvard study tricks that can completely reprogram your brain for unstoppable learning. And trust me, once you understand these, you'll never study the same way again. Trick 1. The Harvard Active Recall Loop. Learn like a memory assassin. My champions, here's the cold truth. Most students think reading more means learning more. They highlight, underline, reread, and feel productive. But Harvard researchers discovered something terrifying. Rereading actually kills your memory. Because your brain doesn't learn by seeing, it learns by struggling. When you reread, your brain is lazy. It recognizes information, but it doesn't own it. It's like watching someone else lift weights and thinking you got stronger. That's why you forget everything later. The Harvard Active Recall Loop flips this completely. Instead of reading a page 5 times, you read it once, then close the book and try to recall every single thing you remember without looking. Your mind will resist. It'll scream, "I can't remember." Good. That's the moment your brain actually starts learning. This tiny struggle is called desirable difficulty. It's like a mental gym. Every time you pull information out of your head, even if you fail, your brain strengthens that connection. And when you do it again and again, your recall becomes automatic, like muscle memory. So stop studying passively. Turn learning into a game of memory combat. Question yourself, speak your answers out loud, teach your wall if you have to. Every time you recall, you're not just reviewing information, you're training your mind to become unbreakable. Remember, reading makes you familiar with knowledge. Recalling makes you own it. That's how Harvard students turn a single hour of study into the power of 10. Trick 2. The interleaving system, outsmarting your brain's boredom. Now listen, my champions, your brain is addicted to patterns. It loves comfort, predictability, repetition. But the problem is, comfort kills learning. That's why most people can spend 5 hours studying one subject and still feel like nothing sticks. You see, when your brain does the same thing over and over, like solving 50 math problems in a row, it stops paying attention. It goes on autopilot. You think you're learning, but you're just repeating. Harvard students use a technique called interleaving, mixing multiple topics together during study. It sounds messy, but it's genius. For example, study math for 30 minutes, then switch to history, then a language, then go back to math again. Why? Because now your brain is forced to adapt. It has to switch gears, rewire, and re-engage. It's like shocking your muscles during a workout. That's how they grow. And your brain? It's the same. Interleaving feels harder, yes, but that's exactly why it works. You're tricking your mind to stay alert, building deeper connections between subjects. Over time, this creates mental flexibility, the ability to solve new problems faster than anyone else. So if you ever feel your brain drifting, don't push harder. Switch smarter. Rotate your subjects. Mix your topics. Because the students who embrace difficulty become the ones who dominate under pressure. And remember, boredom isn't a sign you're tired. It's a sign your brain has stopped growing. Trick 3. The Harvard Reflection Ritual. The secret to permanent learning. Most people finish studying and move on. But champions, Harvard students don't end their study sessions. They seal them. Here's the ritual. After every study session, they spend 5 minutes reflecting. Not reading, not revising, but thinking. They ask themselves, what did I just learn? How does it connect to what I already know? How would I explain this to someone else? Why? Because your brain doesn't grow by input. It grows by connection. When you reflect, your brain starts linking new knowledge to old knowledge, turning scattered facts into a web of understanding. That's why Harvard students can remember lessons for years, while others forget in days. Reflection also activates something powerful: self-awareness. You stop being a mindless learner and become a conscious one. You start seeing how you think, where you struggle, and how to fix it. This is the moment your learning becomes personal. It's no longer school's knowledge. It's your knowledge. So after every session, don't rush to close your books. Sit back, talk to yourself, summarize everything you learned as if you were explaining it to your younger self. Because when you can teach it, you've mastered it. Trick 4. The spacing effect. Turning forgetting into your weapon. Here's the most powerful Harvard principle of all, and it's the one almost no student uses right. It's called the spacing effect. See, most students cram. They wait until exams, then study for hours in panic mode. Sure, they pass, but they forget everything within a week. Why? Because cramming overloads short-term memory. It's like pouring water into a cracked cup. It looks full, but it leaks instantly. Harvard psychologists proved that the only way to store knowledge permanently is to space out your study sessions. In simple terms, learn a little, forget a little, then relearn. That act of forgetting is not failure. It's biological magic. When your brain forgets something and then recalls it later, it rebuilds the memory stronger than before. That's how long-term learning happens. So instead of studying one chapter for 5 hours straight, study it for 1 hour today, 1 hour tomorrow, 1 hour next week. Each time you'll remember more and need less effort. You're not just memorizing, you're rewiring your brain's architecture. When you use spacing, time becomes your ally. Every day, your brain builds layer upon layer of mastery until even if you tried to forget something, you couldn't. That's why Harvard students don't just pass exams, they own the subject. And my champions, when you combine all four of these, active recall loop, interleaving, reflection ritual, and spacing effect, you stop being a normal student. You become a mental architect, someone who designs learning like an art. My champions, remember this: studying isn't about how long you work, it's about how smartly you think. The Harvard tricks you just learned aren't study tips, they're the blueprint to mastering your mind. So tell me in the comments, what's the one thing that's been holding you back from studying at your full power? I read them all. And never forget, you're not just learning, you're evolving. Stay sharp, my champions. Your era starts now.